Hi there everybody, this is David, and Final Fantasy VI or 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. I got this back when I was 12 years old when it first came out in 1994. But back then, whenever games came out, you know what they came with? Instruction manuals that told you how to play the game, and they gave you all sorts of hints and tips. But do we get that now on these new releases? No! God forbid, we don't. We just kind of have to fly by the seat of our pants and hope and pray that we know what we're doing. But since I've played this game for 30-something years now straight, I have plenty of hints and tips that I want to give you with 5 things that I wish that I knew before I started playing Final Fantasy VI. First up, rob Bannon Blind. When you first make your way over to the Returnal's hideout, there's a couple of things that you really do need to know. First things first, dis-equip lock of everything. Just trust me on this. Then, make sure to explore everywhere for all the hidden treasures strewn about, as well as this little Easter egg right here. It literally does nothing, and the developers probably forgot all about it, but it's a cool thing to do nonetheless. Later on, outside whenever Bannon asks you to be their light of hope, you are going to want to tell him no 3 times. If you tell him yes, you're going to get a gauntlet, which is a decent relic in its own right, but if you tell him no 3 times, then you're going to get the almighty Genji glove. This thing is just the bomb, and it allows you to equip 2 weapons at once. It is literally one of the best accessories in the entire game, so you definitely do want that. Then finally, when we're on the raft sailing down the river, you're at one of the best grinding spots in the game, because after the save point, if you just continually choose up, you will get caught in an infinite loop of automatic battles where you can kind of tape down your controller, and then with Bannon's health command on repeat, you will quite literally never die. Only grind though if you're really having issues here because, as you'll see in the next hint, you don't want to level up too much too soon. Number 2, take advantage of the Espers. About a fourth of the way through the game, you'll get access to Espers, and I am ashamed to say that I had no clue how the Esper leveling system bonuses worked the first couple of times that I played the game back on the SNES whenever I was a kid. I mean, I was only 11 years old, give me a break. It wasn't until the advent of the internet and then just kind of scouring the game FAQs message boards that I realized, oh, duh, Esper bonuses give stat increases to the characters whenever they level up. Essentially, whenever a character gains a level without an Esper, your stats don't really increase all that much except for some HP and MP. So, if you want to increase your strength, vigor, or most importantly, your magic, you're going to want to need to take advantage of those Esper bonuses. There are 2 ways to go about doing this. You could do what I did for the longest time, and then just kind of equipped Espers based upon who still needed to learn certain magical spells, and that does work out well enough, and you do get a well-rounded party. But the other way, and this really is for those min-maxers out there, is to take an Esper such as Kate Sith or Maduin, both of which give an extra point of magic per level, and then kind of switch them around according to who's going to level up next. That way, you're really able to make the most of your levels and get your stats as high as possible. But why do I specifically talk about magic? That's in the next tip. Because number 3, magic is the best stat in the game. Let me just put this out there for you straight. Magic is the most overpowered thing in the entire game. Physical damage just pales in comparison to the carnage that you can inflict with your spells. And this goes for everyone. Even characters that you would think would only benefit from increased vigor or stamina really don't. Characters like Edgar, Sabin, and Cyan really should still be raised with a magical build. Let me explain. While Edgar's auto crossbow is physical damage, his ridiculously overpowered Flash and Bio Blaster both hit for magical damage, and it's the same thing for his brother Sabin. The vast majority of his blitzes, such as Aura Blast and Fire Dance, are magical too. And Cyan's sword techs? Yeah, you guessed it, those are actually magical. So the best way to take advantage of this is by using equipment that boosts up your magic stat, such as the Enhancer Sword, or more importantly, earrings. These are probably the most overpowered relic in the entire game because they increase magical damage by 25%, and you can stack them together to double it for 50% more damage. They are expensive and somewhat rare till later on in the game, but boy, are they worth it. Number 4. Level everyone equally. Now, finally to conclude our little talk on leveling and stats, you need to know that you can't just pick out like 4 characters that you like and then run with them through the entire game. Unlike all the Final Fantasy games that came out before this one, you don't just receive a set party and level them from the beginning up till the end of the game. Here, you're going to be alternating through as many as 14 different characters. And while you don't have to level up all 14, you do need to level up at least 12 of them equally. So if you want to drop 2 of them, that's your prerogative. The reason for this really lies later on in the game. During the World of Ruin, you're going to have to split up your team into 2 parties to delve into the Phoenix Cave, and then whenever you finally do go after Kefka, you're going to have to divide all 12 of them up into 3 separate parties. So if you only focus on 4 characters, you're going to be completely screwed whenever it comes down to the ending portions of the game. And number 5, some optional odds and ends. Most of the things that I'm going to cover here are kind of endgame tips and optional party members, but they are good tidbits to keep in your back pocket nonetheless. After you get the airship, you're going to return to Narshe and use Lock to open up the previously locked doors for treasures. Here, you'll also encounter Lone Wolf, who ends up capturing the first optional character of the game, Mog, and you have a choice of either recruiting him or getting a golden hairpin, which will reduce the casting cost of your spells by half. Personally, I would grab the little cutie pie so you can give him some Esper time, and keep this in mind, if you don't get him now during the World of Balance, you will never be able to get the Water Rondo dance in the SNES and Pixel Remaster versions of the game. Later on, during the World of Ruin, you can come back to Narshe and find the little puffball. Once he joins, search the wall behind him and you'll get the Moogle Charm, which only he can equip, and it will turn off all encounters. It's so amazing. After that, keep Mog in your party because there's another hidden character, Umaro, that you can go ahead and grab. You may have seen him come out of the mines earlier in the game, so just go on back to the snowfield with Mog in your party and you can grab him. Finally, over on Triangle Island in the World of Ruin, there's another hidden character that you can get, Go-Go. Wander around the island until your entire party is swallowed by the Zone Eaters, and then you'll be able to grab the elusive Mimic at the end of the dungeon. Something that a lot of people don't really know is that you can also go into Go-Go's status screen, and you can assign him every other character's techniques. So while his stats aren't all that hot, he will be the most versatile character in your repertoire. So that's it for 5 things that I wish that I knew before I started at Final Fantasy VI. What hints and tips would you share for the game? Let me know in the comments. Let's get a discussion going on here too, and let's all talk and chat about it, because I'm always here. And if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, please head on over to the Patreon to sign up for early access to my videos and behind-the-scenes photographs. The link to it is over in the video description. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.